Hello and welcome to Horror Legend with your hosts,
Legend.
and Chris. Oh my god, we're back
Yes.
for another episode of Horror Legend. I am the horror weenie, Chris.
And I am the horror buff, Legend.
Oh, today we bring you a very special, festive, holiday edition of Horror Legend. I hope you are going to have a wonderful holiday, or you had a wonderful holiday. I don't know when this is coming out. But we did the masterpiece, Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving. And on top of having a good holiday, please have a safe Black Friday.
Yeah, she's giving thanks.
She's giving thanks. She's also giving axe murderer.
Yeah.
So yes, we did the slasher film from 2023, Thanksgiving. It was directed by Eli Roth, starring Patrick Dempsey, of all people. I don't know how they got him to do a slasher movie, to be honest. Ty Olson.
Money,
yeah.
money.
Ty Olson, Gina Gershon,
Ugh.
which, I mean...
She's gorgeous in this, actually. I was like, oh, she's still really pretty.
Definitely gorgeous for the 5 minutes that she was in it.
She's in it for like 5 minutes. I really thought she'd be in longer. Spoilers. There's spoilers.
Spoilers.
In case
Yes.
you want this masterpiece of a movie spoiled.
So for just a brief, little quick synopsis, basically after a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, which, shocking, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer starts to terrorize the small town of Plymouth, Massachusetts,
It's not that small.
which is also the birthplace of Thanksgiving, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Mayflower and
Yeah, all that stuff.
killing Native Americans, you know.
Yeah,
Normal
yeah.
Thanksgiving white colonization type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where we are here. We have a mass killer, which, of course, is a very heavy trope in the slasher genre of horror
What?
films.
What? There's a killer.
There's a killer masked? Michael Myers?
It opened up promisingly. There's the POV shot,
I did make a note of that because that is also a classic trope in slasher movies.
Exactly. I actually, you were here. We watched some PBS little snippet where they go over like the elements of slasher movies.
Yes.
Like what they need to have. And this had all of it, I think.
It had at least
Yeah,
most of it.
It had
I
most
would say.
of it.
Yeah.
It had most of it. It had everything. I mean, I hate families and holidays and the East Coast. I just alienated like
Specifically
a bunch of
Plymouth, Massachusetts.
people. Specifically.
And I would say even right at the top, it sets that very unserious tone right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
Like you can tell this movie's in no way, shape, or form going to be taking itself too seriously at all.
No. I saw the waffle irons at the beginning because they're sitting around the table. First of all, just the acting is horrible. That just sets the tone right away. The stepmother or whatever, just the worst actress I've ever seen. And and the one lady who we don't know who she is. She's part of the family, the old lady that was at the table. But it's Thanksgiving. You can't go to work. It's Thanksgiving. And, just that one line, it really, truly set the tone for this movie. Anyway, I saw the waffle irons when he gets to the store, and I was like, God, I hope someone gets killed with that waffle iron. That's just, like, so much... foreshadowing, the waffle iron and everything. I thought it was going to heat up and they were going to smash someone's head with it or something.
It's like when they focus on something so hard, you're like,
Exactly.
it's going to be used.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't.
No. If you're looking for a movie full of Thanksgiving themed murders, this is not it. And it's called Thanksgiving.
I know. I've got to say there was probably literally maybe one.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah, true.
If we count one closer to the end, there's two.
There's two.
That are actually, like, Thanksgiving-related style killings. And the thing is, like, if you're going to be that unserious and campy, why not go full force?
Yeah,
it's called Thanksgiving. Make them all
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving-related killings, even if they're ridiculous.
Turkey basters and, like, I mean,
there's so many things with
they could have
Thanksgiving.
done. So much they could have done.
I mean, you could choke people out drown somebody in gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just on the offset here, I'm just going to say, which, you know, you pointed out as well, there is zero tension before the murders in this
Oh my
movie.
god.
Nothing.
I don't know what, like, so normally in slasher movies, which, like, slasher movies are usually, like, you know, it's like one kill after another kind of situation.
Yeah.
They still usually have good stories. I mean, you have, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, where Freddy attacks people in their dreams, but it still has this build-up, like Heather Langenkamp in the school, and it's in the boiler room, and you still have this suspense build-up, and even Michael Myers, and you don't know he's there, and it's kind of he's standing in the shadows. In this, it was like, literally, I'm just standing there, all of a sudden my neck snapped, and it's done. There's no anticipation whatsoever.
Yeah, there was no build-up, and... You know, they tell you who's gonna die next. Like, oh, this person's gonna die now.
It's never like it's never like, oh, you could guess, or maybe they could get away.
Exactly.
There was not even a chance of getting away most of the time.
No.
There's one scene in particular I would like to point out, where two people go off, and it's like, yay, cheerleader jumping on a trampoline. She's taking her underwear off because they're totally about to bang or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, immediately he's sitting there, and then immediate next snap, his head's turned all the way around, no suspense whatsoever.
None.
And then the knife comes through the trampoline, and she ends up landing on it a couple times, but that's it. And the thing is like, that trampoline kill with the knife going through it, nobody's done that before. That's kind of creative for like a kill type of situation, but it lasted 2 seconds, and it was way too fast to even appreciate it.
It was anticlimactic. All of the kills, I was just...
Even if you're doing a campy horror movie that's supposed to be kind of funny and stupid, you kind of want to still build up those creative kills and build up that suspense a little bit.
Yeah.
To just bring in the tension. Because even in Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, they had main characters we cared about.
Yeah.
In this one, I cared about none of these characters. I had no idea who they were. Yeah, I didn't even find out about one of their names until after she died. No. And she was a main character.
Do you know what? The only person I cared about in this, because I saw her immediately, I was like, oh, Gina Gershon. I love her. And she dies right away.
She dies literally first, like, 10 minutes of the movie.
And it was probably, like, the only murder that was kind of, like, you kind of cared about. And it wasn't even the killer in the movie that did it.
No, it was just crazy... overly consumerized Black Friday shoppers.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole beginning of the movie is just Black Friday and American consumerism and whatever. That's, I mean, the entire thing. Which, like, we all know tragedies happen on Black Friday, or at least they used to before they changed that system around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's realistic.
I mean, it would... that's what I was thinking. I said, this would be a really great, like, consumerism metaphor if it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But... Have you been to a Black Friday sale?
I've been to Black Friday sales, but I've never been to one where it was like, oh, we're waiting at the doors and pushed up against the doors for the thing. Because I think by the time that I started going to them, they had to change that system because of how many trampolines there had been.
Yeah.
That they start doing Black Friday at like 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving instead of at midnight. So like deals just like slowly roll out. So like people kind of are going into the stores almost normally instead of like in droves.
I've definitely never been to one. Online shopping, that's what I've done.
Yes, if you want any pointers, online shopping is probably the safest thing to do during Black Friday.
They could have taken some of the really inconsequential family storyline and used it for like tension.
Yeah.
No, it was just, I thought that was hilarious when she just opens up that, she's talking about her mom that died, and she opens up the pendant and it says mom. It was just so
mom.
bad. It was so bad.
Did it even show the picture of her, or did it just show the mom?
I think there was a picture too.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a picture of her mom and then mom, like, just written on the side.
They mention it and then they never mention it again until like the end, whenever the killer kind of brings it up, and then like
you'd have to catch it.
Yeah,
like,
you'd have to catch it. They like never use it as character development. They never use it as anything. It's just kind of like glossed over so bad.
Made no sense, and it was just funny because like from the very beginning, I'm like, oh well, she's the final girl in the movie. Like
Yeah.
it was like painfully obvious.
Yeah.
Like it was everything seemed like it was forced down your throat, like a bad Thanksgiving.
And I like it's Eli Roth, and to me, so Eli Roth as a director, I mean, he did movies like, well, he's about to do that Borderlands movie, or he did the Borderlands movie, which
did not do well.
did not do well. I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Was a huge fan of the games, so I'm kind of scared to watch it.
Yeah, I really love the game, so I don't want to. I don't want to ruin it.
He also did the movie The Green Inferno, which was kind of like, you remember the old movie Cannibal Holocaust? Did you ever hear about that movie?
Oh God, yeah.
But this movie it's literally a group of people.
We're not watching Cannibal Holocaust.
No,
for this. I will not. I draw the line.
Maybe. I'm just gonna. But he did a movie where these people get taken and trapped by cannibals called Green Inferno.
Oh, okay.
And I've heard that one was good. The thing about Eli Roth, he's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
And it's because I just feel like he doesn't really know how to fully like keep things in like suspense and like actually have build up. I mean, I think the one movie everybody loved by him that he did well was Hostel.
Oh, okay.
And I still have never seen Hostel, but I've heard the first one is really good, and that was Eli Roth.
Okay.
But yeah, in this, I can't tell if he's doing it on purpose or if it really is just, I don't want to say incompetence to be mean, but or that he just like
it feels
just rushed
purposeful.
it too much.
Like,
yeah,
it feels like a purposeful like just shoving it down your throat, like or really just like throwing it in your face, like what's gonna happen next, and like
the thing is like if you're gonna
tropes,
do that, then,
like tropes,
tropes.
Yeah,
if you're gonna do that though, you have to be better than Scream.
Yeah,
or even Scary Movie
exactly,
for that matter.
exactly. I going back to the very beginning here. The dumb teenagers. It just like every character is so unlikable right off the bat. I was like, I hope they. I wrote here. I hope they all die. It's really terrible.
I just wrote. I think I probably said it about 3 times in my notes, but I was like, straight relationship problems, and are straight people okay?
No, they're not. Clearly, we know this already, and
between like the classic teen fighting for the girl thing and just quote unquote broing out, like I just can't. Like, I literally wrote 3 times. It was straight relationship problems. Are straight people okay? And the last one I just wrote was straights.
just straights. Am I right?
Am I right?
I also think that like it just seems like it wasn't a fully realized idea, and I don't know if you didn't mention this yet, that this was in the Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez Grindhouse.
Oh yes, so that was something else that Eli Roth did, was a trailer which showed up in the middle of the Grindhouse movies. That was Planet Terror and Death Proof. And in the middle of it, they had trailers. One of them was by Edgar Wright, who did like Shaun of the Dead and stuff. It was called Don't, which I would love for them to make a movie of, to be quite honest. And another one was Thanksgiving, which was Eli Roth. And Thanksgiving, I believe, is what he based this one off of.
I would assume.
As a Thanksgiving slasher movie. Honestly, probably would have been more of a fitting name, too, with how cheesy it was in general. But yeah, so he did a trailer in the middle of the Grindhouse movies, so I think this is finally him fully realizing that trailer into a movie.
Well, it was not as good as Machete, so which I like. Yeah. I like that. I had never saw the second Machete. Did you see it?
I've never seen Machete.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. I love the first one.
I do like Planet Terror for Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I mean, who can beat Rose McGowan with a machine gun attached to her leg?
That mask. pilgrim mask.
Was it not just Jesus Christ?
Well, I thought it was either a Jesus. At first, it looked like a Jesus mask. Yeah, I was like, interesting. And then I was like, is it a Guy Fawkes mask? Are we suddenly doing that? Like, what?
It looked like Guy Fawkes.
What is this?
And then they're like, no, it's John Carver, and I'm like,
who?
What in the Pilgrim? Like,
is he a famous pilgrim or something?
Or
is it like Carver, like a joke on carving a turkey?
I'm actually not sure if he is a famous pilgrim or not.
We're gonna have to look.
That up. But the Carver thing is pretty funny for a killer named John Carver.
I do like that.
My thing about that mask is there's a scene towards the end. And you know which one I'm talking about. You said you had to look away. It has a scene with a big oven.
Yeah.
But he sets the mask on top of the oven, takes it off the oven, and it's all burnt and messed up. And I was like, I feel like we should have done this in the beginning of the movie.
It should have been an origin story at the beginning or something.
Because everybody in town has this mask because they're celebrating Thanksgiving with a parade, and so they give everybody this mask. I felt like his should have been the burnt, messed up one.
Yeah.
And that's the distinction.
Yeah. But not until the end.
But not until the end, and then he uses it for 5 minutes, and then he switches to a brand new one.
Yeah, and then after it's burned, it looks like it's bronzed or something.
Yeah,
suddenly it looked metal.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh, by the way, John Carver, former deputy governor of Plymouth Colony.
There we go.
Born in 1576 in Nottinghamshire.
Nottinghamshire.
And died in 1621 in Plymouth Colony.
Oh my god.
And he does look like the mask. He looks a little Jesus-y.
He does.
Now we know.
Yeah, now we know.
Okay. We learned something on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a little historical on you there for a second.
Yeah. I don't know the names of any of these characters. I don't remember the names of any of these characters. But
I only remember Jesse because they said it every 2 seconds.
Which one was Jessie?
The main character
survives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her name was Jessica, but they called her Jess.
Her original boyfriend, who was the sports boy.
I think it was it Bobby?
I don't know. That sounds right. Let's call him Bobby.
Correct. Let's call him Bobby.
Doesn't matter. No. I loved it. Made me laugh when they were walking and he was like, I just did this or whatever, and she's like, good job, babe.
You did great, babe. Thank you, babe. You're doing really well, sweetie. Because the acting, I put in here that the acting sometimes sounds like they're just reading from their script.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Because my next note, and I skipped over it because I already mentioned this, but the owner's wife or new wife is just such a bad actress. She was so bad. Anyway.
Hopefully, if you are that actress, you have not seen this episode yet.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty, though, you know. And maybe it was just the script. It was the script. I'm going to blame the script.
You have potential.
Yes. The kids were in that diner, and then there was the kid handing out the flyers, who was my favorite character in the movie.
Oh, the horror twink?
Yes, the horror twink. Well, see, I always think of him as like, I thought of him as like the ducky in the movie. You know, 16 Candles, like the ducky.
You're probably going to hate me for this, but I've never seen 16 Candles.
Guess what? I haven't either, but I know who that is, though.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Because it's always like the character that is in those 80s movies that's friends with the girl.
But never gets the girl.
Never gets the girl and is totally gay. I mean, so clearly gay. And that was one of those characters.
Isn't that John Cryer Pretty in Pink, too?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just funny because it's like those are always the characters I had crushes on. And I would have had a crush on this kid, too.
100% if I was younger.
he totally looks like a little Steve Buscemi. You know? The eyes. That's all I could think.
That's not wrong.
Got in the Capotane diner. Capotane diner. I didn't know how to say that. I thought it was Captain. And I was like, no, it's Capotane.
I was like, why is there an O in this Captain right now?
I don't know. Maybe it's a town or something. I don't know.
So we get to a scene, too, I wanted to bring up in the school where 2 of the characters get chloroformed instantly. There's no build up to it. It just kind of happens.
None.
And then the main character, Jess, is alone. and then
yeah,
she ends up having to run from the killer in the school. And I didn't realize in high school, or at least some high schools, had a full cosmetology class. Since she goes into a place that looks like a hair salon and a makeup
That was
studio
so weird.
as a classroom, and I was like, they had cosmetology in high school, like full
I was so
cosmetology.
confused by that. Yeah.
I mean, I went to an art school, but we didn't even have cosmetology.
So weird.
And she's like, the best part of that whole scene was her hiding. She had her. She was just like kneeled down, and her head was just with the mannequins,
with the
and just
mannequin
hiding in
heads.
the mannequins. And I was like, it's like E.T. hiding in the closet with the stuffed animals.
Oh my god.
It
Was. The first murder in this movie was she a waitress at the diner?
It was a waitress at the diner.
That was a good one. It wasn't Thanksgiving related,
No.
which bothered me, but it was
It was pretty good.
That was a good slasher death,
You see
I
her
think.
in the beginning at the Black Friday riot, and she's crazy, and she's on camera or whatever. But yeah, she's the first to go, and like, I mean, creative kills in slashers are a big thing.
Yeah.
Like you need you can't just like go up and just stab somebody. Like
Yeah.
at least anymore. Like it has to be somewhat creative.
I mean, they kind of did that a couple times in this, but
Yeah, exactly. But with her, it was like, he dunks her head in a sink full of water, opens up the freezer, and then sticks her face to the frozen door.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And she like has to peel her face
off, and there's like blood and stuff. But it's like, that's kind of creative.
Exactly.
Who would have thought of that? He could have just drowned her.
Right?
He could have just drowned her, and instead he like sticks her face to a door and then tries to cut her head off. She gets away at first.
Yeah.
My only issue with this kill isn't that it's not that it's not creative.
It was very creative,
but he hits her with her car into a dumpster, and for some reason the dumpster's lid was strong enough to cut her completely in half.
just fully in half.
And I didn't realize that the plastic dumpster lids
could do
could
that.
completely maim you to the point that you are cut very clean in half like that. I didn't realize they were that heavy. Maybe I should be more careful around dumpsters. Like I'm not sure.
I guess.
It was still creative, but it was a little ridiculous.
It was slightly improbable.
Yeah.
You know? I love like slashers, that have these half-assed plot lines too, because it just sort of like the plots just didn't really go anywhere. I mean, which you don't need one to just run around and hack people, but
No.
nonetheless.
But you feel like some slasher movies really take the time.
Yeah.
Like I keep bringing up
They
Nightmare on
take
Elm
the
Street.
time.
They take the time. Like I keep bringing up Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. Like Halloween is really like it's a guy killing babysitters, but you still
That was good though.
it was good though, and you still had like a feel for the main character, for Jamie Lee
Yeah,
Curtis.
yeah.
And Nightmare on Elm Street was creative because it's like, it's a child killer and he's attacking people in their dreams, but that's already creative. It's like
Yeah.
a guy that was killed by the parents now coming after their kids in their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And it still had this underlying kind of good storyline going
Yeah.
on. And this one, it just like, I just felt like the storyline was, it was too simple, wasn't fully there. And even with the simple storyline, like, this guy's getting revenge because of what happened on Black Friday last
Yeah.
year, you can still do a lot with that that's good.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they didn't take the time to take it there. And it's like, the movie's like an hour and 35 minutes. I feel
Yeah.
like maybe just add 35 more minutes and just add suspense to it, add this to it. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people said they liked this movie when it came out. And I'm not saying this movie is like horrible to watch. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
It's a fun movie to watch, but I just feel like it could have been more.
Oh yeah,
It could have been a little more.
I wasn't expecting too much with a holiday theme.
No.
Except for Halloween is obviously a holiday themed thing, but
Well, and
Thanksgiving
I
themed.
brought it up too, like, because even the original Black Christmas, which we might do,
maybe.
even the original Black Christmas, like, it has like a good storyline. It's got things with like feminism in the 70s. It's got this. It's just got like, and it's got good acting. and really
Acting.
really good acting and editing, cinematography. It's
Yeah.
just if you take the time, you can make something special.
Yeah.
Even if it's a holiday themed like
True.
slasher
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. Yeah. You know what also bothered me about this was, like, in most movies like this, there's always a couple of characters who are total assholes that get murdered, which you're like, yeah, But then there has to be some likable characters.
Oh my god!
And
Well, and
there
you have to get to know them
Yeah,
a
you have
little
to get
bit.
to know them in some way, some kind of
Again, if they would have
character
played up her
development.
mom thing a little bit, there would have been a little bit of character development.
Something.
But I literally had no feelings towards any of these characters.
No.
They felt like blank faces to me.
They were either blank faces or just complete dicks. They're like, good.
Exactly. Yeah, well, and to me, even in slasher movies, the killer has to have a personality.
Yeah.
Ghostface has a personality.
Yeah.
Michael Myers has a personality, even if it's just like creepy breathing standing
Yeah.
there. Like you feel a personality.
There's still a presence of a
Freddy
personality.
definitely had a personality.
Yeah.
This one, it was. This one, it was nothing. It was literally a guy in a pilgrim mask. There wasn't even like, oh, I use a fake voice until like closer to the end.
Yeah.
There wasn't like something quirky about him at all. Because even like having Thanksgiving related kills would have been more of a personality than
Totally.
just I'm walking around with an axe and a pilgrim mask.
Yeah.
You have to. I feel like you need to give the killer something to like draw the audience in, or like be be not attached to, but kind of root for the killer, because and sometimes in slasher movies you are rooting for the killer a little bit for some reason.
Well, that's what makes them iconic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Jason and Freddy. I mean, they're iconic because like they're a character that you like.
Yeah,
but
they have
one,
quirks.
I mean,
Like, they have quirks again, especially Freddy. They have quirks.
Yeah, yeah.
This one I got nothing from him.
No,
like at all.
No,
and it just was not really a memorable character as a killer.
Not at all. No.
Like Eli Roth is not creating any sort of new slasher killer.
No.
The last movie I saw with the last movie I saw with a good slasher killer that had a personality was Terrifier.
Oh yeah,
because Art the Clown at least has a personality.
He's
memorable.
I haven't even seen those movies,
Yeah.
but like I like the character of him.
You know who he is.
Exactly.
He's memorable.
Exactly.
In this, it's just what, Pilgrim?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Well, I mean, also honestly, it was like a slasher of V for Vendetta because he really did look like Guy Fawkes.
We all know this was actually Revenge for November 5th.
Oh my god. Well, it's still in November, so there you go.
Yeah.
Sidebar. Okay. When she talks about like how she knows how to pack a musket, in the back there was like a musket. So I immediately thought of Strangers with Candy when Jerry Blank reads her poem called Packing a Musket.
Oh god.
By Jerry. I have to read this. I'm sorry. I love it. It's quick. When you work from your home and John's call on the phone, you're a call girl. When you walk till you limp and give a cut to a pimp, you're a street whore. When they're begging you please to get down on your knees near their groinage, excuse-a-me, but you see, don't you touch where they pee without coinage. When I straddle and squat to show you my, and then it ends at, the bell rings and it ends there.
Of course.
Because you know how it ends. Okay.
Yeah. I love that poem is called
Packing a Musket, which makes no sense. Amy Sedaris is a genius. Because she wrote that.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, we get the guy shooting the musket, and then she has to talk about how she had to practice doing that so many times that it almost backfired in her hand and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, cool, this is heavy foreshadowing.
Heavy foreshadowing.
Heavy foreshadowing. Have you ever heard of like the Chekhov gun?
Yes.
In Chekhov plays.
Yes.
Where it's like if you mention something like the gun in the first act, it has to be fired by the third act.
Yeah.
So many movies have done this. I mean, this is one. The musket.
Yep.
Fired in the third act. Shaun of the Dead. They constantly talk about the rifle above the bar.
Yeah.
It gets fired in the third act.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even that show Archer, the cartoon, they make fun of it, and they actually call his pistol the Chekhov gun.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. Like at the time of watching that, I didn't put that together.
Yeah,
but,
and then he ends up firing it in the third act. Like it's just it all like is just a joke, and it's been a running thing. So the musket was definitely one of those. Another is whenever the old town gets like ransacked in this, and they're like, call the cops about a robbery too, and not just a vandalism, because the axe was stolen that we were supposed to use for this commercial. And it pans up, and all you see is the dust outline of this axe, and I'm like, there's no dust anywhere else on this wall, just white dust where this axe is.
Amazing.
And then the axe comes in later. Because we get another piece of foreshadowing when they're about to go into the parade, and the guy comes up to her, and he's like, take this ring. Oh, my dad had it in Iraq. He said it saved his life.
So stupid.
And then she uses it to cut ropes because it's got a hidden blade inside of it somehow.
Do you know what's funny is like I didn't remember that part. And I was like, where did she get the ring? Like I forgot that completely. I was like, did she get it at like I thought she got it at the gun shop.
Well,
and then I was like, I don't remember that.
That character the entire time. The character the entire time is like the crazy gun nut whatever.
Yeah.
And then randomly has this moment of like sentimentality of like, take this. It's like, it's lucky, but this saved his life in Iraq.
That character was great because it was like, he was a few tropes. He was like the older guy who like buys the teenagers liquor in the town and is like friends with teens. And he's like 40 something.
Who obviously got held back a few years in the school.
Yeah. And then he's also like, you know, the guy that owns the gun shop in The Simpsons with the one arm.
Yes.
Totally that kind of character too. You know?
Yeah. He was a few tropes wrapped into one.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just thought like those moments of like heavy foreshadowing. And it's like obviously that could have been done on purpose just to like make fun of heavy foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's just at
I'm
a certain point you
whether
feel
it
ridiculous.
Oh, speaking of on the fence, that's the only other time. There's two other times where her little bracelet or whatever comes into play. On the fence, because it gets caught on the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She almost gets killed because it gets caught on the fence.
Yeah. And then it saves her life later.
Oh.
Because she packs the musket
with the
locket.
With her mom's picture inside.
Why? No one knows, because that
mentioning
was
the
not
mom
necessary.
Mentioning the mom was foreshadowing.
Yeah. Because it wasn't necessary.
No.
She filled it full of gunpowder and whatever those... Oh, wait. Never mind. She had to have those little pellets in it, too.
Oh, yes.
And they fell off the back of the truck.
So then she packed it with
with the locket. Okay, see...
Also another trope.
We're putting it together now. Okay. Yeah, accents in this movie, too. I just wrote this note, and I forgot to mention it.
How aggressive people was very East Coast.
That's true, but the accents really came and went. They picked and choose when they wanted to use a really heavy Boston accent and when it was just completely gone.
Yeah. It was either full Massachusetts or just, like, Midwest.
Yeah. Just, what is it? Atlantic? Or...
Yeah.
Oh, well, so many inconsequential characters were killed in this. The Russian girl, who we didn't know was Russian or even knew who she was until she got to get in their car.
Oh, yeah.
Her dad.
Yeah, the blonde girl who we didn't even know her name until after she died, which apparently was Yulia, I think? Yulia. Nothing about her until her dad pulls up in a Mercedes and he's like, get them in the Mercedes. And he just has like this like thick Russian accent. And I was like, Russian?
So random.
Hold on.
Because he looked like a KGB agent or something.
Yeah.
Just for no reason. Oh, yeah, and they were in like a really nice house and everything.
Really nice house. And then the Mercedes, it's like, obviously you have to mention that it's a Mercedes because you rented it for one day of shooting.
Yeah. She did have one of the only Thanksgiving related deaths, though, the girl.
She did. At least the beginning of it was.
The beginning of, not the end. Yeah, just the beginning of it.
Beginning.
It almost went there with the corn holders stuck in the ears. Yeah.
And a good sound effects moment of when they get pulled out and you get that
Oh,
ringing
the
and
ringing.
then the
That was
muffled
good.
hearing. Like,
that was good.
we
That's
needed more of
always
that.
good. I know.
We needed more moments like that.
But then she gets finished off on a fucking table
saw.
It made no sense.
And-
Why was everything was covered in plastic? But that was in her house, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just like the remodeling part of their house.
Oh, okay. That
so
makes
then you got
sense.
the table saw, and then she ends up
stupid.
getting hit with a table saw. But then part of me was thinking where she got hit with the table saw would really just cut her arm off.
It didn't make a lot of sense. All of her guts were like spilling out, but yet that wasn't touching. It was her shoulder.
And I'm sorry, the
I
reaction
don't know.
from the characters after seeing the fact that her intestines were hanging everywhere was not... I understand being in shock, but
yeah,
the reaction to that was not as big as it probably should have been.
it was like people who don't
Seeing
know
your
how to
teen
act like
girlfriends.
they're in shock, being
Exactly. seeing their teens' girlfriends' intestines spilled everywhere.
Yeah. What was he saying? He's like, what do I do?
He's like, what do I do?
What do I do?
Jess, what do I do? And I'm like, react bigger.
Yeah. I just wrote like the kills are becoming rote. It's just really.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so oh, you know what I didn't mention? When they do go to that gun store, why do people always shove guns down the front of their pants? I mean, I thought that was going to be some foreshadowing. It wasn't. I was kind of expecting it to be.
It's because, obviously pistols are metal penises. Like, I don't understand.
I guess that's what it is.
But it's like,
Yeah.
always...
It's always right towards
like
the
the
crotch.
most hetero acting man has to like shove it right down the front of his pants, and I'm like,
Right in the crotch.
does it have to touch your penis?
It's so weird.
Is the dick touching like a thing that needs to be happening, or are you like trying to accidentally shoot it off? Like,
I know.
don't
I'm like,
understand.
is it? Oh, maybe it's playing off. Okay, I read. I borrowed this book from someone at work who is probably listening to this, and it's really good. It's like history of horror movies and things like that. But he goes into like Freudian stuff a lot, and to me, Freud is just just full of shit. But
Well, it's because like with Freud, you're addicted to drinking water. It's because you want to sleep with your mother.
yeah, it's ridiculous shit. And then, but he goes into like all of these movies having castration complexes. Like all of them are, which that draws me back to like the gun in the pants thing. But yeah, it goes over like all these movies having these castration complexes, like Dracula and Frankenstein. I'm like, how? Like, I hate Freudian psychology. It drives me crazy. But anyway,
The only other thing I could see like related to that is I think maybe even that PBS thing we watched brought it up.
they did
Where
she
they were
brought it up
talking
too,
about
because it's
like,
a common thing that they talk about.
yeah, they're
in
using
horror.
weapons that are phallical knives, things like that,
Yes.
stabbing, whatever, and
Yes,
then
penetrating,
and when you get the final girl trope in, and sometimes, at least in like newer horror movies and stuff, then all of a sudden they take that person's weapon and do it to them instead, so it's like a whole possibly emasculating thing or something.
I don't see it that way.
My thing is like people try to throw that metaphor in there, and I just feel like it's such an overly complex way to look at just somebody killing people.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's like,
My opinion, of
oh,
course.
she took the same knife and then stabbed him. I'm like, yeah, because she grabbed it from him.
So
Like,
now
what do you?
it's like her grabbing his penis and shoving it in him, and it's like
No.
I don't think that's
It really isn't.
what they were going for. I think it's really just people like to kill people.
People like to kill people, and they like to celebrate weird prudes who decimated an entire population of indigenous peoples.
Oh yeah, like because even today, like why do we still have Thanksgiving parades
So weird.
celebrating the pilgrims? Like
It's so weird to me.
especially certain pilgrims who probably, if they weren't killing Native Americans, were hanging women for being witches.
They weren't good people.
No.
They were not good people. They weren't even good enough to live in England.
No.
They were that bad.
If history hasn't taught you anything,
I know, right?
the Crucible at least should.
I love that Plymouth Rocks float, though. with
Oh
the
my
guy.
god, the fact that the guy who had all the guns, his band's name was Plymouth Rocks,
I love it.
was amazing.
That was, yeah, I liked that, actually.
That's peak in this movie.
It really is.
Plymouth Rocks.
What is not peak for me, and I hated this, that the killer changed outfits in the parade. He was a clown suddenly.
Yes, so we get
That
to
really
we get to that
bothered
point
me.
with the parade, and I thought it was going to be way more of a climactic big moment. And it's like, obviously it's not like the end of the movie, so it's not like the climax, but like you still have huge moments.
Yeah.
And the parade seemed like a moment you would build up to and have a huge moment happen.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, okay, we have this guy had to slam on the brakes and the boat in the back of it ended up going through his head like Final Destination.
Yeah.
And we have smoke grenades going everywhere because the killer's there. My issue is like, okay, he's no longer wearing his pilgrim outfit. He's wearing a clown outfit in a Thanksgiving parade.
I did not understand the
And
clown.
nobody was paying attention to the fact that it was a clown. But
A
also
creepy clown.
a creepy
as
clown.
well.
It wasn't even just like, oh, normal clown.
No.
It was like, I'm wearing a scary clown mask and not colorful clothing, black and white clothing with a scary clown mask. And I'm like, nobody's paying attention to this clown in the middle of this Thanksgiving parade where everybody's wearing pilgrim outfits and stuff.
And the killer should not just completely change like that in the middle of a movie.
No.
Because that's another thing that makes it just a bad killer, you know?
Yeah, like, you don't, like, halfway through Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's not changing to, like, huh, you know what, I think I'm going to wear my blue sweater today.
Yeah, a tux, you know?
Or Michael Myers being like, yeah, you know, I really wanted to wear this ball gown.
Yeah.
Although
that would be a sleigh, but...
That would be a sleigh. Pun intended on that one. But you don't... Like, Ghostface doesn't change his costume. Like,
No, it's
midway through.
be
Even if you have
consistent.
multiple Ghostfaces, they still have the same costume.
You gotta be consistent
gotta
with
be
your killer,
consistent
or it's
with
not
it.
gonna be iconic in any way.
But then also the parade was not climactic. Like, you had
No.
tiny moments, and then you had him throw a concussion grenade into the car, sleep dart these people, and then just drive away while there's still like so many people around him.
Which was like a huge clue to who the killer was.
Yeah,
That's that's when I knew who it was,
Yeah,
which
it's
was
like-
funny. I was like, it's a police like grenade.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's the policeman.
it's a police grenade. You're driving away in the sheriff's car. Like,
Yeah.
I did like it. Just that moment could have been bigger.
Oh, totally.
That could have even been a reveal where there was like multiple killers, even if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
It could have been
exactly.
like, oh, it's not just one guy. It's actually all these people. Like,
that would have been better.
that would have been cool.
After that came that oven part, which I didn't like.
Oh my God.
Just because I worked somewhere where I used to work in kitchens. I worked somewhere where we had like a walk-in oven or huge ovens, and like just the idea of getting stuck in that, I could not deal. So I did not watch all of this part because I just couldn't deal with it.
I don't have like a hard time with it. Probably because I've seen so many of the Final Destination movies.
Yeah.
But that scene, I have to start it out with one. He's like covering her in grease
Yeah.
to begin with before he puts her in the oven. I think, or butter or whatever.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I have a really big like sensory thing about having greasy fingers, and I see people like when I'm eating fried chicken with my hands, it's good, but I'm having mini panic attacks the entire time.
I have the same
because
problem.
of my
Yeah.
hands.
I
I
have
have
the
to wash
same
my hands
problem.
after every time I eat
Yeah.
because I see people touch something greasy and then go touch a TV remote or something like
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, oh my god, like I have a panic attack. So him like just covering her in grease, I'm sitting there like, okay, this is worse. Just kill me. This is worse than actually getting killed. Just murder me, please.
Yeah. He should have been eating like a grilled cheese while he was doing it.
Oh my God.
That makes me... Eating a grilled cheese makes me so, like, cringe. Like, I hate it. I hate touching it.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
what it
bad.
is.
And
don't know
yet
what
I
it
want to
is.
eat it because it's
Yeah.
good, but it's
Yeah.
like I'm panicking.
Yeah.
So the only other part of the scene that I liked was that this is the only time in the movie that I felt this felt like a slasher movie.
That's what I wrote. They saved the tension for the end.
Yes, because it's the stepmother, and she gets away for a second, and you have these scenes of her in the house actually hiding from him,
Yeah.
actually getting up the stairs, getting away, and it actually had built tension.
Yeah.
And then she finds the other girl in the fridge, and she starts making noise, and she shushes her. You get all of these like actual slasher horror moments. And even the scene where he's like, he looks in the room, but she's off to the side with a bottle holding it, like waiting for him to come into the room, and then he runs away. But it's like that built tension.
But he was still there, and he goes,
yeah,
right through the wall.
Still there, right through the wall, which
Yeah.
is like still it's a trope and
It is.
it's cliche, but that's the only time it felt like there was actual tension.
Yeah.
And like it was an actual slasher movie.
Yeah.
To me, at least.
No, totally.
And then like of course she still gets taken. But I liked the way they did that because it was kind of very Texas Chainsaw.
It was.
You have, in Texas Chainsaw, you have the girl run out of the house, and you have Leatherface come and grab her and pull her back into the house.
Yeah.
You think she's going to get away. She doesn't, almost gets away. In this, it's like she gets out of the house, she runs, but then you see he throws the pitchfork and knocks her down because it
That was
stabs her in
good.
the back.
That was like the only good scene.
It was a very well done scene.
Yeah, it was.
And then she gets dragged back into the house, and then she gets put in the oven.
Yeah.
And cooked alive, which
I couldn't deal with that.
I would not be able to deal with that either.
No.
But yeah, that was to me the only good scene that really
Yeah.
felt like a slasher build-up horror movie.
Yeah.
Rather than just, oh, I walked in the room and snapped his neck. And that's it. There's
they're
no
dead.
build-up. They're dead. Like, it's just... So I enjoyed that scene a lot. And that was the only time I felt the stepmom actually did a really good job, acting-wise.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
Is she knew how to play that up.
She did.
And that was really good.
She can't say straight lines, but she
Yeah.
can do that.
Well, and like the thing is they talk so much shit about her in the movie, and like the girl hates her stepmom.
Yeah.
And like I get it, but also she's really not being mean enough for you to hate her.
Not at all.
At all. You kind of just hate her to hate her at this point. Like, I know it's the whole like she can never replace my mother, but it's like she's not really giving you a full reason to hate her.
No, they could have like built that up better in some way.
They could have built that relationship up,
Something.
and then just like because I feel like.
Or she could have ended up being like she could have endeared her to herself to her at some point, and then died right when she was like loving her or something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
And it's like some of this stuff is cliche, but it's like very much horror tropes that it's like, yeah, you hate your stepmom, but then all of a sudden, like, what happens is like, oh, she saved your dad's life, sacrificing yourself, or she saved your life,
exactly,
or something, and it's a whole
But none of
endearing
that
moment.
happened.
None of it happened.
It was
You never
just-
have this build up with her, and yet whenever she sees her dead, she's like super shocked and sad, and it's like you hate her the whole movie. Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't you be happy that she got cooked alive and now she's being served to you
Right.
as a turkey?
Right.
I don't understand.
Bobby or whatever the hell his name is, he got his pitching arm back at the end.
Oh yes,
And,
I think we forgot to mention this a little bit. During the Black Friday riot, he ends up getting, I think, his hand stepped on.
Yes,
And it like breaks it because he's a baseball player and he lost his pitch because of it, and he disappears for a while and comes back. And then at the end, it's like, oh, we got his pitching arm back, of course.
Yeah, right at the last minute, he throws. Did he throw a baseball or something at the
It was
killer's
like a
head?
hammer.
Or yeah, he threw something.
Hammer through the window.
Yeah.
My issue with the ending of this was why. So like her and Bobby have the moment where they get back. They kind of are like back together.
Yeah, they're team
at the
up.
end
It's
because
like-
they like just survived the killer's
Yeah.
attack at the end of the reveal, and yet she's still with the douchey guy that she left
Yeah.
him for
Yeah.
later on, and I'm like, no.
It-
First of all, Bobby was way hotter.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't.
His hair alone, I'd be like, no, we're done.
I totally did not understand why she got back with him at the end, and the only thing we have to talk about, you know, the catchphrase at the end.
Okay, really quick. Catchphrase at the end, yes, but I just want to point out that there were a couple of lines in this movie that I did write down because they were insane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
One of them was one of the teenagers saying that if it's up to the police officers, we're all going to be 50% off.
We're all gonna be 50% off, like Black Friday. Oh my god,
We're all going to end up 50% off.
That's so bad.
Insane.
So bad.
Such a good one-liner. And then, yes, so we get to the ending with the killer's reveal and everything, and then his one-liner of like. It's like, Jess, there will be no leftovers.
Oh my god.
I can't. And what's sad is she gets her one-liner moment, before she shoots the musket
Yeah.
that blows up a balloon full of helium.
Yeah, by the way, like, what was in that balloon? Because who uses flammable gas for
Yeah,
balloons?
because helium's not flammable.
Is this the Hindenburg? Like, what?
This is the Hindenburg of the Macy's Day
We're
Parade.
using hydrogen in this Macy's Day Parade balloon.
Her one-liner ends up being, "You were right, there is no leftovers." And I'm like, you couldn't give her
There
a
were
more
so many
clever
better-
line
There
than
were
that.
so many better ones.
This turkey's been stuffed, and then fires
Just
the
so
gun.
many, so many.
Oh
You know
my
what? Like, write some good ones in the comments for us.
Yeah, if you can think of a good Thanksgiving one-liner before somebody shoots a killer, give us that in the comments.
There's so many.
Because there's so many that I thought of after this.
Yeah.
That I can't. Your turkey's been cooked, and then just shoot it. Like, I don't understand.
What was my? You forgot to say grace.
You forgot to say grace.
Just so much, you know.
Like, there's so many of them, and I need a better one for this girl because she deserves to have a good ending one-liner.
She did. I love the turkey balloon deserved better too. It was so funny how they're like carrying the police are carrying
Oh
the
my
turkey
God.
balloon out at the end.
Like, the turkey balloon blows up, and then the police are carrying it out at the end.
I was hoping they'd put it on a stretcher and put it in an ambulance. That would have been just perfect.
And then in the ambulance in the window, you see the guy with the paddles like hitting him, they're trying to bring it back to life. We need oxygen. Get an oxygen. We have to air it back up.
They put the little tinfoil blanket around it. Like,
It's in shock. It needs oxygen. It needs air.
oh god. Before we wrap it, do you have anything else?
I don't think so, actually.
Yeah.
My main thoughts on this movie were, I feel like it could have been more. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they would have added more to it, it could have been even more fun as a slasher movie.
Well,
Especially a Thanksgiving themed slasher movie.
they did set up, for a sequel. They set up a sequel.
They did kind of set up a sequel.
And I think it should be Thanksgiving 2, Time for Seconds. Yeah?
That's so good.
I think that would be perfect. So, we have to rate this. I'm going to rate it. You know what? We were going to come up with a system, but I think it should just change. That's fine.
It should change depending on the movie.
Yes, because this is going to be, from me, 2.5 turkeys.
I would actually agree with that.
Yeah.
2.5 to 3 turkeys.
3 is generous.
Sorry, I would say 2 turkeys and a turkey leg.
Yeah.
That's the half.
A wing.
That's
two,
the wing.
2 turkeys and a wing.
That's
Two
the half.
turkeys and a wing.
2 turkeys and a wing. That's the halfway point. Right there.
Because it was entertaining, but it wasn't good.
No.
Acting, not so great. Just the plot, writing, not good.
I mean, if you need a quick slasher movie to just put on while you're making Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun.
That's
fun.
what
it comes down to. It was fun. And you should probably watch it because it was fun.
And bring the whole family. It's Thanksgiving.
Exactly. I would still recommend watching it because,
Yes.
I mean, come on. How many Thanksgiving-themed horror movies are there?
How many Thanksgiving-themed movies in general?
Are
there?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough. Clearly. Okay, so thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe and follow on Spotify. Is it follow on Spotify? I don't know.
You can definitely follow our channel on Spotify.
Follow our channel on Spotify.
And if you feel so inclined, please leave questions in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
We will definitely start answering those when we have probably a few more.
Yeah.
I know we have a couple, I believe, that we're keeping track of, and hopefully maybe the next episode we will get those questions answered for you.
Next time, I think we should do it. This one, we went a little longer than I thought. It's amazing. We went this long on this one.
Yeah.
And yet the substance was shorter. But it was a far better, maybe because it was a far better movie.
The substance
less to
was
talk
amazing.
about.
Yes. Less to talk about because of how good it was.
Exactly.
This one just had so many little things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in.
And thank you for the consistent listeners. We appreciate you so much.
Yes.
Please tell your friends about Horror Legends so that we can get more people in here. Because we love to hear from you, and we just love watching movies.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. Bye.
Bye.
Happy gobble gobble.
Gobble gobble.